Hey everybody, Royal Diamonds 2 Loyal back again with another video. Today we're reacting to another Anna horror stories video. 3 true horrifying quarantine stories. Let's get into it, guys. This video was once again requested. Scary quarantine stories.
When the quarantine hit in 2020, my parents knew that staying in New York City was not the best option for our family. The cases of the virus were really high there, and everyone was scared for their life. Luckily, my grandparents have a lake house in Wisconsin that they only use for part of the year when they're not at their Florida home. The house was currently vacant and was in a much more secluded place where we would be around far fewer people. We packed our bags and headed to Wisconsin, not knowing how long we were going to be gone.
When they said no, they was not about to catch COVID.
When we got to the lake house, we all breathed a big sigh of relief. It was so peaceful and beautiful. It almost felt like the virus didn't exist there. The lake house was located just off of a small town in a wooded area. There were tons of activities we could do there, like fishing, kayaking, hiking, or swimming. My brother and I did school through Zoom for a few hours in the morning, and then we could do whatever we wanted the rest of the day. One evening, my brother and I wanted to go to a nearby lookout point to watch the sunset over the water. Both of my parents decided to tag along, and we set off on foot. We hung out there for a little while before it got pretty dark and we headed back home. The walk back was short, and we arrived just as it was nearly pitch black out. My dad got to the door first and was surprised to find it unlocked. He asked my mom if she had locked it, and she said she was
Well, the door was unlocked, so who went in there?
Pretty certain she had. We figured she'd just forgotten since we had kind of left in a hurry. We all walked in and decided to head to our respective rooms to chill out for the night until it was time for bed. I laid down on top of my bed and turned on the TV to watch a couple of episodes of my favorite show before bed. Suddenly, I saw a notification that someone wanted to airdrop me something on my phone. I figured it was my brother trying to send me a meme or something, so I accepted it. The video was blurry at first. I didn't know what I was looking at. Then, as it moved around, I recognized something. It was my favorite yellow dress with blue flowers. That's when it hit me. This video was taken from the inside of my closet. Doing my best not to show my fear, I quietly got up from my bed and left the room. As soon as I reached the hallway, I began sprinting towards the other section of the house where my parents' room was located. I showed them the video and they looked very freaked out. My dad told me to stay in their room with the door locked and for my mom to go get my brother and bring him into the bedroom with us. My dad grabbed a gun that was stored alongside his bed and went to confront whoever had broken into the house. My mom arrived back with my brother a short time later, and we locked the door and waited silently. Suddenly, I heard my dad yelling.
Oh, they got her dead. Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Followed by multiple gunshots. We were all terrified that something had happened to our dad. Much to our relief, he came back into the room after a few minutes and was uninjured. He explained that the intruder had tried to attack him but stopped when he realized he had a gun. He then chased him out of the house and fired a few shots into the air to scare him. We filed a police report, but we still don't know who the person that broke in that night was.
Scary.
I was living with my mom in our Chicago apartment when the coronavirus hit. In the beginning, things were pretty crazy, and no matter what store you went to, they were out of items. It even became hard to find some basic necessities. We had tried our best to stock up ahead of time, but after a while, we knew I was going to have to venture out and go to the grocery. My mom was extra stressed and busy with work during this time, so I volunteered to go and try and get groceries for us. I put on a mask and headed out on foot to the local market. My mouth dropped when I saw that the line was wrapping around the corner of the block. I took my place in line, only hoping that there would still be something left by the time I was able to actually get inside. While waiting in line, a lot of us began talking amongst each other. I found out that because the market was so low on supplies and people were starting to fight each other, the market wasn't actually allowing anyone to enter the store. Instead, they had prepared boxes for everyone in line. Everyone's box had the same contents: basic needs like toilet paper and toothpaste, canned goods, and things like that. I was near the very front of the line when an employee announced that they were totally out of supplies. I was so disappointed after having waited for so long.
You know, people be getting so mad when they find out, oh, everybody is out of stock. They be yelling again, the whole attitude. And it's like, dang, the workers at the place don't have nothing to do with that though. Like, they can't do nothing about that.
Long. I was turning around to head home when the grocer recognized me. We were on very friendly terms since I came there so often. He gestured for me to come in the side entrance. When I got there, he handed me a package. He told me it was the last of the supplies that they had set aside for some of the employees. I thanked him and began heading back to my apartment. While I was walking, a man stopped me, gesturing towards the box I was carrying. He told me that he had been all over town and couldn't find any groceries. He said he had 4 kids at home and that he had to feed them, and asked if I would give him the box of food. I'm a compassionate person and tried to give when I can, but our pantry at home was literally bare, and my mom and I needed these groceries. I apologized to him and explained that I really needed these supplies, but he was so persistent and told me that he needed the stuff more than I did. Eventually,
Wow. And he probably crazy too.
I turned to leave and he pulled my arm back to stop me. I wriggled away and took off running back to my apartment. I got to the apartment, locking the door behind me. My mom had to stop by her office, so I was home alone. After about 15 minutes, I heard a knock at the door and checked the peephole. It was the same man as before. He had a long bladed knife, which he was tapping on the door. I texted my mom and called 911 to ask for an officer to be sent to my address. While still on the phone with 911, the man began to threaten me. Eventually, he began stabbing the wooden door with the knife, apparently trying to get in. I watched through the peephole as 3 police officers approached the man. He didn't comply, so they tased him before hauling him away. I assume he was on some sort of drug, and am sure that if the police didn't get there in time, something pretty awful would have happened.
Yep.
When the quarantine happened, I was in high school. Classes switched to virtual, and life changed pretty quickly. We're from the city, so my family and I live in a big apartment building. My mom is a nurse and my dad is a firefighter, so sadly, neither of them had the opportunity to work from home during this time. On most occasions, it would just be my sister and I at home most of the day. One evening, my sister and I were slumped on the couch watching TV. Suddenly, we heard loud steps and movements from the apartment above us. We knew the person who lived in that apartment very well. She was a middle-aged single woman who we'll call Julia. She was super sweet and lived alone with only her cat. Julia was not the type of person to make any noise. My sister and I became concerned for her and decided to go upstairs just to check on her. When we got to her apartment, we knocked on the door, but
Yeah, 'cause you might never know what happens if she don't even make sounds like that or make any noise. It's like, shoot, and if, something could happen and you wouldn't know because she always quiet anyway.
got no answer. We decided to try the door and found it to be unlocked. We looked around but saw nothing. Suddenly, I felt a vibration in my pocket and picked up my phone to see who had texted me. Surprisingly, it was from Julia. She explained that she left last night to go to her sister's house and was planning on staying there until things settled down with the pandemic. She wanted to know if my sister and I would mind watering her plants. If Julia had been gone since last night, who had been making the noise? All of a sudden, a man's voice came from behind us, asking us what we were doing. A tall, buff man stood before us, peering down at us with an enraged look on his face. My voice shaky, I explained that we're Julia's neighbors and we're just checking to see if she was okay. The man told us that he was Julia's ex-husband, and he was there to take back the things Julia had stolen from him during their divorce. I immediately knew
The dude they showing on here looks so scary, dude.
that we were in a dangerous situation and this man was not supposed to be here. I reached my phone and pressed down on the side button 5 times, a feature that immediately notifies the police. The man told us that he wasn't going to let us stop him from taking back what was his. He shoved us both in a nearby closet and locked us inside. It felt like hours that we were locked in that closet. All we could do was sit silently while we heard the man tear apart Julia's house, looking for God knows what. Finally, we heard the apartment door slam open and knew help was finally there. The police arrived after having tracked my phone. We could hear a struggle going on outside. The man was big, and we knew he would be hard to take down. But at last, we heard the man get cuffed and led away. Finally, we called out to the police, letting them know where we were. They picked the lock and set us free. The man is in jail, and Julia is super grateful for my sister and I protecting her apartment. Can you imagine this happening to you? Drop a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe.
No, but that can happen to anybody, y'all. Like, you know, when you think something can't happen to you or there's no way something could happen to you, just like it happened to somebody else, it could easily happen to you too. So be thankful and grateful for everyone around you, everything you have, and all that. But thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. I'll be back with more videos, and I'm out.